Shri Lola Nandalala Murali Lola Nandalala प्रेम से बोले श्री गजानन स्वामी की, उमापति महादेव की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, उड़ैसा जगन्नाथ की, बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय, सियापति रामचंद्र की जय। आसन लीजिए, kindly be seated, devotees. Officiating Pujani Pandits, Pandit Vasudev Maharaj and Pandit Vinayak Maharaj, Shrotagan, Bhaktajan, devotees of God. This morning on behalf of the management committee here at the Divya Jivan Mandir, let me extend to you most cordial welcome to this the final session of Bhagwat Puran Katha. As we prepare ourselves for devotion this morning, we join together firstly in dhyan and meditation. As we compose our thoughts and energies, focus on that most benevolent Lord, Shri Krishna Bhagwan. Hey Krishna, Hey Deen Dayalu, all merciful Lord. This morning as we come together in devotion, we do so with one common purpose. And that is surrender unto you, Prabhu, our prema and bhakti, our love and devotion. Bless us this night to the successful completion of our devotions here this morning, and through your divine blessings enable us to receive and to understand the wonderful lessons enshrined in the pages of Bhagwat Puran Katha. And so as we focus our thoughts and energies in this manner, we now blend our voices together as we pay respects to Bhagavan in his manifold manifestations. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswate Namaha, Shri Guru Charan Kamale Namo Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvighanam Kuruni Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvara Vinadhare Vipula Mangaladhanshile Bhaktarchinashini Viranchi Hari Shavande Kirti Pradhe Akhilan Manurachide Mahade Vidya Pradayani Saraswati Namityam. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaram, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nagendra Haraya Trilochanaya Bhashmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shudhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Manuchavang Martatuya Vedam Jitendriyam Buddhi Matang Varishtam Vadatmajam Vanarayutamukhyam Shiramadutam Sharanam Prabhadhe. Ram Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Patiye Namaha. Om Shri Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa कुमाराय श्री गोविंदाय नमो नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मोकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलं गतिगिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दं माधवम्। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु दुर्गारूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः। ॐ शान्ति 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 हरि ओम्। I will begin this morning, my dear friends, by chanting Krishna Chalisa. I will be dedicating this Krishna Chalisa to a wonderful devotee all the way from Houston, Texas, Sharma Ramnarayan and his family as well, who have donated generously to the hosting of this Bhagwat Puran and who requested Krishna Chalisa. And also is very fond of this morning's katha of Dhundukari and his release, my dear friends, from that bamboo that he had entered into to listen to Bhagwat Puran. Of course, we're going to go into detail in that katha this morning. We also dedicate this morning's katha to him, Sharma, and members of his family from Houston, Texas. बंसी शोभित कर मधुरा नील जलज तन श्याम अरुण अधर जन बिंब फला नयन कमल अभिराम हरे मुरारी हरे मुरारी। पूर्ण इंदु अरविंद मुखा पीतांबर सुचि साज जय मनमोहन मदन छवि कृष्ण चंद्र महाराज हरे मुरारी हरे मुरारी। जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन जय वसुदेव देवकी नंदन जय यशुरासुर नंद दुलारी जय प्रभु भक्तन के रखवारी जय नटनागर नागन भैया कृष्ण कन्हैया भीम चढ़ैया मुनिनाथ पर गिरिवर धारो आओ दीनन कष्ट निवारो। बंसी मधुर अधर धरि फेरो होवे पूर्ण मनोरथ मेरो आओ हर माखन छाको आज लाज भक्तन की राखो जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन असुर निकंदन जय असुर निकंदन जय यशोदा नंदन की जय नंदन की जय। बोल कपोल चिबुक अरुणारे मृदु मुस्कान मोहिनी धारे राजत राजी नयन विशाला मोर मुकुट गंजन की माला कुंडल श्रवण पद आछे कंगी काछी काछी नील जलज सुंदर तन सोहै चरण कुसुर नर मुनि मन मोहै मस्तक तिलक अभूंगुराले आओ श्याम सूर्या वाले कर पाया पल ही तारो एक तत्व सुन भाग भारो जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन असुर निकंदन हे असुर निकंदन हे यशोदा नंदन की जय देवकी नंदन की जय। मधुबन चलत अग्नि जब ज्वाला भई शीतल रत की मंगलाला जब सुरपति ब्रज चढ़ोर साई मूसरधार भरो बरसाई लखत लखत ब्रज चढ़ो बहायो गोबर धन नाथ गरी भायो लखी वसुरा मम अधिकारी मुख मह 14 भुवन दिखाई दुष्ट कंस अति उद्भव मचायो कोटि कमल जब फूल मंगायो नाथ कल्याण तुम्हीं है शराचूल दाई धर दीने जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन असुर निकंदन है असुर निकंदन है यशोदानंदन की जय देवकी नंदन की जय। कर गोपी संग रास विलासा सबकी पूरा करी अभिलाषा अगणित महा असुर संहारो कंस ही केस पाप की धारो मात पिता की अंग चढ़ायो उग्रसेन महाराज बुलायो भीम सहित चहु सुत लायो मातु देव की शोक मिटायो नरकासुर मूर्खान संहारी लये सदा सहस कुमारी गाय भीम की चिर संधारा जरासंध राक्षस बन मारा जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन असुर निकंदन हे असुर निकंदन हे यशोदा नंदन की जय देवकी नंदन की जय। असुर विकासुर अधिक मारो, निज भक्तन कर कष्ट निवारो। दीन सुदामा के दुख तारो, चंद्र दीन मूर्ति को मारो। दुर्धर साथ कलेवा, दुर्योधन को त्यागो मेरा। लखन प्रेम की महिमा भारी, नौमी शाम तुरंतारी। भरत भारत राज हाथे, ये चक्र करता ही भागे। निज गीता के ज्ञान सुनाए, भक्तन हृदय सुरा बरसाए। जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन, असुर निकंदन है, असुर निकंदन है। यशोदा नंदन की जय, देवकी नंदन की जय। मीरा की ऐसी मतवाली, 20 पिताई बचा कर काली। राणा भेज 7 पितारी, शालिग्राम बनी बनवारी। निज माया तुम्हारी दिखाए, उड़ते संशय सकल मिटाए। तब सब निंदा करी तत्काला, जीव मुक्त भयो शिशुपाला। जब ही द्रौपदी तेरा लगाई, दीननाथ लाज जानी। तुरत ही बसा बने नंदलाला, बधो चीर भी खाला। जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन, असुर निकंदन है, असुर निकंदन है। यशोदा नंदन की जय, देवकी नंदन की जय। अनाथ के नाथ कन्हैया, रूपक भावन भरी बचैया। सुंदर दास असुर उरधारी, दया दृष्टि जी जय बनवारी। नाथ सकल मम कुमति निवारी, समह देवी अपराध हमारे। बोलो पाठ अब दर्शन की जय, बोलो कृष्णा कन्हैया की जय। जय यदुनंदन जय जगवंदन, असुर निकंदन जय यशोदानंदन की जय। देवकी नंदन की जय, यशोदानंदन की जय। देवकी नंदन की जय। यह चालीसा कृष्ण का, पाठ करे ध्यान। अष्ट सिद्धि नवनिधि फल, लहे परारत ज्ञान। हरे मुरारी हरे मुरारी। बोलिए श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। Krishna Chalisa, my dear friends, on this concluding morning of Bhagwat Puran Yajna. And what it says, we just look at the last duha. Yah Chalisa Krishna ka, path kare udadhyan. Ashtasiddhi Navanidhi Phala Lahe Padanat Gyan. He possesses Ashtasiddhi Navanidhi Phala. So he possesses Navanidhi Phala. He's also capable of bestowing those Ashtasiddhis upon his devotees. Because the siddhis are the spiritual powers and accomplishments that enables someone to perform, superhuman feats of which you would not be ordinarily able to do. Such as to make your body weightless, to fly. Hanumanji was able to do that. Bhagwan Krishna also possesses that ability. And so all the manifestations of avatar of Bhagwan does possess this ability. And to make one's body as small as an atom. To make one's body as huge, immeasurably huge as you desire. All of these, my dear friends, are part of the siddhis. At your own will to change your appearance. That is not to say just to make another hairstyle. To actually change who you are. In English you would call it a shape shifter. You're able to shift, my dear friends, remove your entire appearance and become someone else just by thinking of it. To arrive at another location, another destination, just by thinking of it. All of these are the siddhis, my dear friends, that Bhagwan possesses. And as we also indicated, this final session of Bhagwat Puran also entails the reading of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, of which we will read a few shlokas at this time before we actually get into Bhagwat Puran Katha. Gita Gangascha Gayatri Sita Satya Saraswati Brahma Vidya Brahmavali Tri Sandhya Mukti Dehini Ardha Matra Chirananda Bhava Agni Bhainashani Virtrayi Para Ananta Tatvagyan Manjiri Om Namo Narayanaye Govindaye Namo Namaha Shri Paramatmanebhyo Namo Namaha Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samavetaye Yutsavaha Mamakaha Pandavaschaivam Kim Akurvat Sanjaya Sanjaya Uvacha Dristaftu Pandavanikam Yudham Duryodhanastara Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravite. Pasyaitam Panduputranam Acharyam Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Dropara Putrena Tavisisyena Dhimata Atra Shura Mahishvasa Bhim Arjuna Samayudhi Yuyudhano Viratascha Dropadascha Maharataha Drishtaketu Chetikanaha Kashi Rajasya Bijavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Saipascha Narapungavaha Yudhamanuscha Vikranta Utmaujasya Bijavan Saubhadro Dropareyascha Sarvaiva Maharataham Asmakam tu visistaye tannibodha dvijotamam Nayaka mama sanyasyam sandhyartam kam brahmiti भवं भीमश्च कर्णश्च कृपाश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदित्तिस्तथैव च भवं भीमश्च कर्णश्च कृपाश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदित्तिस्तथैव च अन्ये च बहवः शूर मध्यातीत्याति जीवितः नानशास्त्रप्रहरणः सर्वयुद्ध विशारदः हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। सब कोई हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे। बोलिए श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। And so, having chanted Krishna Chalisa and also performed reading of Srimad Bhagwat Gita, we now turn our attention to Bhagwat Puran Katha this morning. And as we indicated, we're reading the Katha of Dhundukari and how Dhundukari, my dear friends, became trapped in Pret form, Prethood. We shall find out what is a Pret or who is a Pret, and what circumstances led to Dhundukari, my dear friends, being trapped in that form of the Pret, and how, of course, listening to Bhagwat Puran Katha was able to deliver him from that hopeless and helpless, vulnerable state that he was in. First, of course, we chant Bhagwat Puran Sumiran. सेवक शेष प्रदेश अजय महिमामृत अभेद वेद भेद जानत नहीं देहु मोहि वरदान राधा वरदा सदा प्रेम भरी मुस्कान नित चित्त में तक तक रहे चाहिए कछु नहीं और बस प्रभु जगत की बसी रहे मन माही यह भांति झांकी सरा लिए लपटिया हाथ गायन की पीछे फिरकर बाल बाल साथ मोर मुकुट सिर पर धरे कर मुरली शीश मुकुट कति पीत कत या छवि सो नंदलाल बसहु हृदय मन किसी दिवस गुरु पज रज धर शीश आहु भागवत की कथा जो शुक देवानीश कही परीक्षित निपतियस श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय शरणम Bhagwat Puran Mahatam. This katha is taken from Bhagwat Puran Mahatam. So, over the course of the 19 preceding sessions, we have said that Bhagwat Puran comprises 12 skand. Or 12 sections, 12 books. Each skand has numerous chapters. Some skand may have as much as 75 chapters, others may be somewhat smaller. But Bhagwat Mahatam, of which we're reading this morning, my dear friends, precedes the 12 skand. And this, my dear friends, is the deliverance of Dhundukari. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Sabkoi, let us sing together. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari He Nath Narayan Vasudeva Govind mero hai Gopal mero hai गोविंद मेरो है गोपाल मेरो है श्री बाके बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है श्री बाके बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है भजमन नारायण 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 भजमन नारायण 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 भजमन नारायण 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 लग लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण नारायण, केशव नारायण नारायण नारायण, माधव नारायण नारायण नारायण, गोविंद नारायण नारायण नारायण, लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण नारायण। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। श्री शुकदेव जी मुनि बोले, हे राजा परीक्षित, this divine narration firstly took place between the illustrious, knowledgeable Shukadev Ji Muni to the great King Raja Parikshit, subsequently to 88,000 Rishiyo, 88,000 Rishis and Munis in the name Ishal Uniformis, and of course, you and I also have that wonderful opportunity to share in this divine narration. यह कथा सुनने की भवसागर पार उतर जावेगा। अब हम एक कथा पुरानी समेत कहता हूँ। दक्षिण दिशा तुंगभद्र नदी का नाम, एक उसका किनारे एक नगर में आत्मादेव नाम को ब्राह्मण को बड़ा पंडित तेजवान को धर्म आत्मा को रहता था। उस ब्राह्मण की स्त्री का धुंधली नाम था। यह बड़ी कक्षा थी। वह दिन रात संसारी माया में फंसी रहकर अपने पीत को सब तरह का दुख देती थी, पर वह ब्राह्मण ज्ञानी परमेश्वर की इच्छा इसी तरह समझकर उसी के साथ अपने दिन काटता रहा है। जब उस ब्राह्मण के पुत्र न होकर बुराई पाई, तब अपने उस संतान होने के वास्ते व्रत और नीम रखना आरंभ को करके बहुत गाय व सोना दान ब्राह्मणों को दान दिया है। जिस पर भी उसकी इच्छा नहीं पूर्ण होते हैं। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। सबको ही सब together। श्री कृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारी, हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेवा। गोविंद मेरो है, गोपाल मेरो है, श्री बाके बिहारी नंदलाल मेरो है। भजमन नारायण नारायण नारायण, भजमन नारायण नारायण नारायण, भजमन नारायण नारायण नारायण। लक्ष्मी नारायण नारायण नारायण, केशव नारायण नारायण नारायण, Govind Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Lakshmi Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Lakshman Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Lakshmi Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. Prem se bole Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. There's a great Brahman, a knowledgeable Brahman by the name of Atmadev. His Dulahin's name was Dhunduli. He was a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Dhunduli was prone to having, emotional outbursts, and very easily she would become angry and upset and so on. Atmadev, my dear friends, maintained the peace and tranquility and harmony in that home. Sometimes instead of responding to her outburst, my dear friends, he would chant Bhagwan's name instead. And this, my dear friends, maintained, stability and peace and happiness in the home of Atmadev. They both desired to have a son, but this had so far proven to be futile. They had performed, puja and yajna and given dana and so on to fulfill this desire. But my dear friends, this did not materialize. And as the years passed by, Atmadev said to his wife Dhunduli, I would leave this home and I would spend as much time as is required in the forested regions, so that this desire of ours will be fulfilled. I will not return home, O Dhunduli, until Bhagwan gives me that assurance that the gift of this son would be bestowed upon us as we desire. He had that firm conviction, my dear friends, that, if he prayed hard enough, then his heart's desires will be fulfilled. And this is the cornerstone, of our devotion to Bhagwan. We must have that full faith and belief and conviction, and performing this puja, and whatever the situation may be, as onerous, as insurmountable as it may appear to be in our pathway, my dear friends, rest assured, when Bhagwan is pleased with us, even that which appears to be insurmountable and impossible to attain becomes very much attainable with his blessings. Even the impossible becomes possible. Nothing is hard, nothing is difficult, nothing is impossible for us to achieve once we have secured Bhagwan's blessings. And so, my dear friends, he set off to the forest, bidding farewell to his Dulahin, Dhunduli. And my dear friends, upon the banks of the Ganga river beneath a peepal tree, he began to perform devotion to Lord Krishna. And indeed, several weeks passed by. He had undergone severe fasting and penance and so on. He was growing weak and, of course, very hungry and so on, very frail and drawn because of his non-consumption of food. And on one particular morning, Bhagavan decided to test Atmadev, and so he appeared in the form of a Mahapurush, that is, a most enlightened individual. And he's walking along, he's coming along the same pathway where Atmadev is still seated beneath that peepal tree and performing tapasya. And so he spoke to Atmadev, tell me, O Brahman, what is the purpose of your devotion? And so Atmadev responded, our desire, my Dulhin and I, is to have a son that has proven to be unsuccessful. And so I have given her the assurance that I will not return home until this desire is fulfilled. And so I am praying to Bhagavan Krishna for this blessing to be delivered upon us. And when he looks at the Mahapurush, he says, when I look at you, I feel as though you have that power and ability to bestow upon me that which we seek. He says, no. Bhagavan says, no. I am an ordinary human. I do not have such powers. But Atmadev persisted. He says, I know that you have such powers, and if you do not deliver those blessings unto me now, I will enter into this water, in this holy river, and commit suicide. I will take my life, I will end my life, because I know you have the power to deliver unto me that which I seek. And so Bhagavan, seeing, the insistence of Atmadev, he picked a fruit that was growing nearby, and he blessed this fruit, and he gave it to Atmadev and says to him, return to your home and give this to your Dullahin. And upon consuming this fruit, she will become pregnant, and eventually you will be blessed with that son that you desire. So he was happy, he was relieved. He gave thanks and adoration to that Mahapurush, which is none other than Bhagavan Krishna. And my dear friends, joyfully, jubilantly, he returned home and related to Dhunduli that experience that he had. He gave the fruit to her and says, eat this fruit at once, and our desire will be fulfilled. He left her with the fruit, and he went into his little mandir at his home, which he had not seen for several weeks, because obviously he was away from the house for several weeks. And there he began to praise Lord Krishna, and he left Dhunduli with the fruit. With the full belief, my dear friends, that she would consume the fruit, having 100% faith and belief in her. So even as she's holding the fruit in her hand and she's contemplating, should I eat this fruit or should I not eat this fruit? Her sister happens to visit her. But her sister is pregnant at that time, and she's saying to her sister, Atmadev has said, he has performed great tapasya and so on, and Bhagavan has blessed him with this fruit. If I eat this fruit, I will become pregnant, and should I eat this fruit? She's asking her sister, who herself is pregnant. And the sister says, no, throw away this fruit. Do not listen to Atmadev. Do you know what discomforts I am presently undergoing because of my state, my state of pregnancy? Throw away this fruit. Look, when this child is born to me, I will give it to you. And you would say to Atmadev that this son is his, or this child is his. Sri Ram had said to Bharat, accept advice from one knowledgeable person than from 100 foolish persons. Sometimes we seek the wrong advice. It is said, sometimes people give you their advice because they're not going to use it themselves. That is to say, they're giving you bad advice. And that is a typical case, my dear friends, of Dhunduli and her sister. So this is a case of the highest deceit and treachery, my dear friends, that Dhunduli is about to practice against Atmadev. Giving her the fruit, my dear friends, not even waiting to wait and see if she's actually going to eat this fruit. Such belief and faith that he had in her. He is singing the glories of Bhagavan Krishna. She has now thrown the fruit out the window. And where the fruit fall, my dear friends, where it fell, a cow was grazing nearby. This is the Atmadev's cow. Whilst he was away, Dhunduli was tending to the cow. She would keep it near the home and so on, and feed grass and so on to it. And so it fell near the cow. And if you know anything about cows, you would know they're also fond of eating fruits. And so she threw the fruit through the window, and the cow ate the fruit. We dedicate this beautiful bhajan to Ramjit and his wife, who are here all the way from Gasparilla, and who has been here for quite a few sessions during the course of this year. And sometimes when people make the extra effort and travel and come, we must recognize that. Although this morning I know you came now with Sham. So that, that extra effort, to come from Gasperia to Pinal by traveling, during the course of the week. We recognize that. And whenever I look at Shyam and, of course, Ramchand's sister, of course, I cannot help but remember my good friend Ramchand. And for those of you who do not know Ramchand, I will just take 1 minute because he was fond of this bhajan as well. He is one, my dear friends, whom I would have performed Shyam maybe for about 13 years, Yagna? 10, 11, yeah, about 15 years. Yeah. 15 years of Yagna, my dear friends. And sometimes it's difficult for a whole group of people to host one Yagna. But he hosted 15 Yagnas. I remember on one occasion when I came first night, he said, Baba, I don't know how we're going to do this Yagna, Because the truck had worked for about 2 months now. I think the truck had broken down. He said, don't worry, man, things will work out. And halfway through the Yagya, he says, whatever contract or whatever the truck had to go back to, it materialized during the course of the Yagya. So such was the nature of Ramchandra Harila. So we dedicate this bhajan to him as well, wherever he may be, may Bhagavan Krishna's blessings be bestowed upon him. I fondly remember, 1 year, I think we went for Titi Night Sham. We started in Pitri Paksh and went into Navratri. We started with, I think, maybe 5 nights of Pitri, Garud Puran Yagya, and went into 9 nights of Devi Bhagwat Puran Yagya. Such was his fondness and love for listening to Yagya and Katha and so on. Maiya ki mamta taji taj baba ka pyar बाल बाल की मित्रता गोपियन की मनहार तज को सब परिवार को तज मुरली की तान अपनों से मुख मोड़ के मथुरा चले सोना सोना लागे बिरज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम सोना सोना लागे बिरज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम जमुना रोए मधुबन रोए रोए कदम की छैया हो रोए कदम की छैया भर भर नैना रोए रे कवाले भर भर नैना रोए रे कवाले रोए की गैया राह रोक कर रोए मन सुखा हो राह रोक कर रोए मन सुखा चल गए मुर्शाद सुना सुना लागे ब्रज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम बोल सके ना घर की पंछी असुरन से धर्म असुवन से भर नैना आजा कान्हा ना जा कान्हा ना जा कान्हा ना जा कान्हा आजा कान्हा ना जा कान्हा तेरे पिंजरे की नैना नदिया रोए गिरिवर रोए ले कान्हा का नाम सुना सुना लागे बीरज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम प्रेम दीवानी राधा रानी भर नैनन में पानी हो प्रेम दीवानी राधा रानी भर नैनन में पानी सुभग कहे हाय रे कान्हा हाय रे कान्हा हाय रे कान्हा सुभग कहे हाय रे कान्हा तुझे बिरहा के पीर न जानी कैसे कटेगी तुम बिन साथी जीवन का अभिशाम सुना सुना लागे बीरज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम सुना सुना लागे बीरज का धाम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम गोकुल को छोड़ चले घनश्याम जमुना रोए मधुबन रोए रोए कदम की छैया uncontrollably the people of Yamuna and Madhuban tears flowed from their eyes, my dear friends, upon the separation from themselves and Kanhaiya Bhagwan Krishna. So Atmadev, this wonderful pious Brahman, my dear friends, has given to his Dullahin that blessed fruit that is supposed to yield the gift of a son. And of course, the cow has now eaten the fruit. My dear friends, Dhunduli, from that day on, or maybe a couple of weeks later, feigned all the discomfort of pregnancy. Whenever Atmadev would be home, she would lie down. She is saying to him, I'm not feeling well at all. But he was very patient. He says to her, Dhunduli, you rest. I will do the housework. And of course, when he would go away to perform his puja and so on, she would get up and do whatever she needed to do. In this way, my dear friends, she feigned that pregnancy for 9 months. And very soon, when her sister gave birth to a son, my dear friends, this child was given to Dhunduli. And on that occasion, on that day when Atmadev returned home, happily, Dhunduli presented this child to her. Atmadev, your words were correct. Bhagwan has indeed blessed us with a son. Here is your son. He was happy. And he named this child Dhundukari. Mysteriously, a few days later, the cow also gave birth. But to a human child with large ears like a cow, cow-like ears. She had eaten the fruit that was designed and destined to give a son, my dear friends, unto Atmadev. And this Vardhan, this blessing, my dear friends, materialized. He was puzzled, he was confused, he was mystified, but he was even happier. He said to Dhunduli, We prayed so long and hard for many years for the gift of a child, and now Bhagwan has blessed us with not just one son, but two sons. So he looked upon this as his own son, and he named this boy Gokaran. Gokaran, Go from the word Gau, which means cow, and Karan, of course, the heirs, having the heirs of the cow. So Gokaran and Dhundukari grew up in the home of Atmadev and Dhunduli as their two sons. But from a young age, the two boys reflected opposite dispositions and traits and characteristics and habits and mannerisms and behavior and so on. Atmadev, as a Brahman, would teach his sons mantras and bhajans and so on. Gokaran, the child born from the cow, he would absorb this and learn it immediately. The first time he would listen to a mantra, he would be able to recite it to his father. Dhundukari, on the other hand, you would have to recite the mantra over and over again, and still he would not be able to absorb and remember and recite this mantra. Sometimes they say people hard-headed. Dhundukari, my dear friends, was of this nature. But beyond that, he was also a very cruel young boy. Whereas Gokaran would assist his father in caring for the cows and the other animals and so on, tending to the fields and planting the crops and so on. Dhundukari would beat the cow and the other animals, the dogs and whatever else they had. He would, for no reason, pass and hit and beat these animals for no reason. And so he displayed a certain tendency, my dear friends, of cruelty and disrespect for his father, Atmadev, and his mother Dhunduli in the home. He did not show them that love and adoration and so on that Gokaran would normally show. And the parents saw, my dear friends, the difference in the traits of these two boys. It is said, whilst the child is yet a fetus in his mother's womb, the child is already receiving certain signals and it begins to learn. For instance, if the mother is accustomed to reading good literature, Bhagwat Gita and so on, and listening to mantras and bhajans and so on, all of that, my dear friends, is being passed on to the child. We know obviously what the mother eats. The child shares in that nutrition, but also what the mother listens to, what the mother reads. The environment during that time of pregnancy, my dear friends, may also influence in a positive or negative manner the unborn child. It's quite clear in the case of Dhundukari. The influence was negative. But that idea, that plan was hatched between the two sisters, my dear friends, was a very devious plan. And that deviousness and that treachery, my dear friends, of course, translated into the supposed pregnancy of Dhunduli. And of course, my dear friends, that of course would have influenced Dhundukari's traits and behavior, my dear friends, even before he was born. And it's quite evident, in terms of what Atmadev witnessed in terms of the behavior of these two boys. And so as they grew into young men, that problem multiplied. Because Gokaran now began to perform puja and so on. He lived a simple life, a caring life, a loving life. Dhundukari, on the other hand, my dear friends, became involved in gambling, in alcohol. His mother Dhunduli spoke to him sternly. If your father were to find out of your activities, you would not have a place in this home to live anymore. Now, my dear friends, she saw, what her wrong actions have produced. Now she becomes fearful of what she sees. But despite speaking to him in this manner, my dear friends, he does not respond, he does not listen to her, and continues his bad behavior. One day he asked his mother for money to go to gamble, and she refused him. On that day, he beat her. And he stole the money and went to gamble. When Atma Dev learned of what had happened, he says, I will not live in this house anymore. This is no longer a home where violence takes place, my dear friends. This is no longer a home. A home is supposed to be a place of mutual love and respect and peace, harmonious living. He says, I will not stay in this home, in this house, one day longer. And that day Atma Dev left the home. And Gokaran, when he learned that his father had left, he also left the home. And left Dhunduli, my dear friends, to face the wrath and the anger of Dhundukari by herself. प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो। मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ। I am your child, O Lord, and you are Lord of this universe. Have mercy upon me. Tumaho bade balavan, you are strong and powerful, and we are weak and defenseless and vulnerable. मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ, तुम हो बड़े बलवान, प्रभु जी मेरी लाज रखो। मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ, तुम हो बड़े बलवान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो। मैंने सुना है तुमने यहाँ पे लाखों से दुख तारे, मेरा दुख भी तार सजन की चक्र सुधर शनिवारे। मैंने सुना है तुमने यहाँ पे लाखों से दुख तारे, मेरा दुख भी तार सजन की चक्र सुधर शनिवारे। मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ, मुझ पे धरो कुछ ध्यान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो। तुमको दयालु अपना समझ के मैंने आज पुकारा, मुझे निर्बल का हाथ पकड़ लो, दीननाथ सहारा। तुमको दयालु अपना समझ के मैंने आज पुकारा, मुझे निर्बल का हाथ पकड़ लो, दीननाथ सहारा। मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ, मैं भी तुम्हारे संतान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो। मैं आया हूँ आज तुम्हारे द्वार पे आस लगाए, ऐसा कोई जतन करो प्रभु साँच को आज न आए। मैं आया हूँ आज तुम्हारे द्वार पे आस लगाई, ऐसा कोई जतन करो प्रभु साँच को आज न आई। मैं एक नन्हा सा, मैं एक छोटा सा बच्चा हूँ, दिव्य बना लो भगवान, प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो, 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 प्रभु जी मेरे लाज रखो। बोले श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। My dear friends, that same evening, Dhunduli, upon the time that she expects Dhundukari to return home, everybody knows, when family members are out of the home, they expect the time of arrival. This is the time they're going to come from work, from school, from shopping, wherever they have gone. When they're going to come home. So, just before Dhundukari's return, from wherever he had gone to gamble and so on, Dhunduli, it was night time now, he always left early and come back late in the night. Dhunduli decided she too is going to leave the house. Atmadev already left. He says, I will not live in such a home at all. Gokaran says, if my Pitaji is not here, I too would leave. Both of them, by the way, went in Tirat. They spent the rest of their time simply going from one place to the other. Gokula, Mathura, Yodhya, Vrindavan and so on. All the holy places, my dear friends, performing Tirat. So she says, I too will leave. And so in the darkness, my dear friends, she's running away from home, expecting that Dhundukari, thinking if he comes home, he'll beat me once more. Not wanting to face another beating at the hands of her son. She ran away, my dear friends. It was very dark. Of course, thousands of years ago, no street light, no brightly lit pathways and so on. So she's running away, my dear friends. But unknown to her, there was a well, a pond in the pathway she was running along. A very deep pond at that. And so she ran, my dear friends, through the darkness of the night time. She fell into the pond and Dhunduli died by drowning. When Dhundukari returned home, there was no one there. He was very happy. He invited his friends over, his cohorts in gambling and stealing and so on. He invited them over. My dear friends, that night they had could call it a party. They were drinking alcohol and having a good time. So the Brahman's home, where there was always bhajan and puja and mantras and so on, being chanted every day, on that night, my dear friends, became transformed, into a house where gambling and alcohol and so on was being practiced. So he never went to look for Atmadev. He did not care what happened to his mother. Such was the nature of Dhundukari. He did not inquire what happened to Gokaran. Why everyone left that home, it mattered not to Dhundukari. All that mattered to him was his life of gambling and alcohol and so on. And so, my dear friends, the entire house became overrun by these gamblers. On one occasion, they had planned a heist at the wealthy home of a villager. So they went there, they stole money and jewels and so on, and they came back to the house, Atmadev's house. But on that day, Dhundukari did not share the loot with his companions. He hid it. But they were offended. And they plotted that night to kill Dhundukari. In that line of work, if you can call it work, whenever you step out of line, my dear friends, your life could be endangered. And the very same situation exists today in this gangland that has become Trinidad, you know. Of course, we always hear how many gangs there are and how many gang killings there are. The majority of murders, of course, are gang-related or what have you. But the point is, the same principle, if you could call it a principle, once you don't toe the line and once you step out of line, they're going to come and shoot you. In this instance, they didn't have guns. They had a piece of rope and they had the chulha. So what they decided to do? Let him fall asleep. And whilst Dhundukari slept, they tied a rope around his neck, my dear friends, and hung it from one of the rafters. Back then, nobody had the house sealed off and so on. It was just the thatch roof and the rafters and so on. So they pulled him, my dear friends, and of course he felt the rope tightening around his neck. He began to fight back. By this time, of course, he was awake. So a couple of them are pulling him up the rafter, and when he started to fight them, my dear friends, a couple of them took the firewood from the chulha. Each house obviously was nicely equipped with a chulha long time, you know. So the burning firewood is there. So they take the firewood, my dear friends. Some are pulling and hanging him, and some are beating and burning him all at the same time. So he's being hung, he's being beaten, and he's being burned. The end result is he died a horrible death. And they left him there. They had no concern about disposal of body and so on. They searched for the loot, what they had stolen. They found the loot, and they made off with the loot. And left Dhundukari, my dear friends, in Atmadev's house. Whomever dies, and for whom the Antim Sanskar is never performed, a terrible fate would befall that individual. When someone dies, they become a pret. On the 13th day, when the shroud is completed, the pret obtains an intermediate body. You see, my dear friends, obviously at the time of death, this body, which is called the Manusharir, is placed upon the pyre and burnt away to ashes, or perhaps, buried into the earth. Whichever means, it is returned to the 5 elements. The Atma, however, which is unborn, does not die. The Atma remains, Angushma, just the tip of the finger. Lord Krishna had asked Arjuna, who are you, O Arjuna? Are you the soul, the Atma, or are you this body? टूट गई है माला मोती बिखर चले, 2 दिन रह कर साथ जाने किधर चले. टूट गई है mala, just as the mala is broken and offered at the time of funeral. Also, that fracture takes place, my dear friends, between the gross body and the subtle body, which is the soul. The gross body, as we said, the physical body, is burnt away to ashes and retained to the 5 elements. But the soul, the true you, the true I, remains. And that soul, my dear friends, desires another vehicle. So this body, my dear friends, is simply a vehicle to take us across this Bhavasagar. And when this part of the journey comes to an end, in order to have continuity of the journey, a new vehicle is required. Let me give you an example. It's like you're taking a trip to New York or wherever. You get into the motor car from home and drive to the airport. But at the airport, you change vehicle, isn't it? Because the motor car is not fast enough. It cannot fly and take you to your final destination. So you leave the motor car and you get into the airplane. That has the velocity to attain the altitude, to fly and so on and get you to your final destination. So too, my dear friends, when this part of the journey comes to an end across the Bhavasagar, Tu pyar ka sagar hai, teri ik boond ke pyase hum, lauta jo diya tune, चले जाएंगे जहां से हम, तू प्यार का सागर है. When this part of the journey comes to an end, My dear friends, as Bhagavan Krishna says, the body is cast aside and a newer body will be taken on. And that's the Sthula Sharira, the intermediate body that is gifted onto the plate on the day of the Shraddha, the 13th day. So the Atma cannot travel on its own. This is not a suitable vehicle, my dear friends, to travel into Yamlu. It does not feel heat, it does not feel cold, it does not feel hunger, it does not feel thirst. Yet the plate must be subjected to hunger and thirst, to heat and cold and so on. Hence the need for the intermediate body called the Sthula Sharira, which is formed by the offering of all the pindas. So that when that reconstitution takes place, my dear friends, only on the 13th day will the plate depart this world. एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, जग चला जात है सारा इसका कौन ठिकाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है. One day will come, we too would have to leave. Whoever is born must die. And when all the antim sanskar ceremonies are performed, my dear friends, then of course on the 13th day there is a smooth departure. All the gifts and so on have been offered, and that intermediate body has been bestowed upon the plate. But in the case of Dhundukari, what happened? They hung him, they beat him, they burned him, he died, and they left him. Father is not there, mother is not there, brother is not there. They have all given up on Dhundukari because of his wicked and devious ways. And so, my dear friends, in the event of someone who dies by unnatural circumstances and unnatural death, such as Dhundukari, on whose behalf the antim sanskar is not performed, then that individual, my dear friends, becomes a bhoot. The plate becomes a bhoot. And so whereas on the day of the Shraddha, he's supposed to happily depart on his way to Bhagwan, that departure does not take place, but rather he remains here, my dear friends, in a helpless, vulnerable, fearful state of a bhoot. Who or what is a bhoot? Now somebody may say the bhoot is a ghost or zombie. And whenever we hear those two words, people begin to become frightened and so on. But my dear friends, I want to tell you, there's nothing to be fearful of, because the bhoot is helpless and vulnerable. The bhoot is Suchimuk. His mouth is big as the eye of the needle, and he feels hunger and thirst. But you know, if your mouth big like the eye of a needle, how much food you're going to eat with that mouth? So he's hungry, he's helpless, he's thirsty, he's searching for help. ईश्वर खुजान बंदे मालिक तेरा ही है. But how do you call out for help in that state, in that condition? You can take up the phone and call someone. In those days they didn't even have phone. He appeared to his brother Gokada in a dream. And sometimes, you know, it happens with us as well. We have a deceased family member, and someone may say, you know, Baba, I dream Aji, or I dreamt Mommy, and that individual has died. And we must not take these dreams lightly, my dear friends. This is a mode of communication. This is a viable, legitimate mode of communication that the departed has with us. So, Dhundukari appeared to Gokarna in a dream, And in that he was able to show Gokaran how he died, the terrible circumstances under which he died. And he also asked his brother Gokaran for help. I'm suffering terribly. Please assist me. So what does Gokaran do? Remember, he's performing Tirat. So he goes to one of the guru, the rishis, to interpret the tree. And the guru says to him, perform Bhagwat Yajna. This will redeem your brother of his sins. O devotee, always remember Bhagwan, always keep him in your heart. Do not turn away from him as, Dhundukadi had done. Once Bhagwan is at your side, then of course you will be safeguarded. As he was the Charyata, the guide, the savior of Arjuna. When we accept Bhagwan as our guide and our savior as well, he also takes us to victory, safely and securely, across his Bhavasagar, as he did to Arjuna, across the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Ishwar Khujaan bande, Malik tera wahi hai. Ishwar Khujaan bande, Malik tera wahi hai. Karte tu yaad dil se, arjaan mar rahi hai. ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा वही है. तू मेरा गन पवन में, सागर बहार बन में. अगन पवन में, सागर बहार बन में, सागर बहार बन में. उसके सभी भवन में छाया समा रही है. ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा वही है. उसने तुझे बनाया, जब खेल है दिखाया. उसने तुझे बनाया, जब खेल है दिखाया, जब खेल है दिखाया. क्यों धीरे सुनाया, मेरा पिता नहीं है. ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा वही है. विश्वास छोड़ आता, सब झूठ है तमाशा. विश्वास छोड़ आता, सब झूठ है तमाशा, सब झूठ है तमाशा. माया से क्या नहीं है, को दिलासा. ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा वही है. दुनिया से दिल हटा ले, प्रभु ज्ञान में लगा ले। दुनिया से दिल हटा ले, प्रभु ज्ञान में लगा ले, प्रभु ज्ञान में लगा ले। ब्रह्मानंद मोक्ष पाले, तन के पता नहीं है। ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा नहीं है। करते तू याद दिल से, अनजान मरनी है। ईश्वर को जान बंदे, मालिक तेरा नहीं है। बोलिए श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। My dear friends, all arrangements were made for Bhagwat Puran Yajna to take place. Gokaran himself officiated, that is to say, he is reading all the katha from the Singhasana. On the appointed day of the Bhagwat Puran, Dhundukari the prate arrived, along with all the other guests who were invited to the Bhagwat Yajna. But he was the only guest that was unseen and unheard. In the form of the boot, he entered into a length of bamboo, 21 joints. Some accounts say the bamboo is 7 joints, and after each day, one of the joints would open. Some accounts say the bamboo is 21 joints, and after each session, a sound will be heard and the joint will open. You know when you're bursting bamboo, as you say, we burst in bamboo, the bamboo makes a popping sound, isn't it? So after each katha was read, my dear friends, that joint would open up. But of course, long time, many years ago, in fact, we don't have to go back thousands of years ago to the time of this katha, maybe 25, 30 years ago, all tents, all Bhagwat, whether it be wedding, whatever, we will go and cut bamboo and of course make the tents with bamboo. Of course that has been phased out as the years has gone by. So he entered into this length of bamboo, my dear friends, and after each session that popping sound would be heard. And of course, this represented, my dear friends, the release or the releasing of Dhundukari from that state of that boot in which he was in. And so, my dear friends, this went on, and people are hearing the bamboo popping. No one knows because, of course, the boot is unseen. Until the last day, the last morning, which is like this morning, when the last katha was read, my dear friends, and upon that last katha being read, that loud sound was heard once more, and now the entire bamboo opened up, and Dhundukari emerged, but not in the horrible form of a brute, my dear friends, in the most Deota-like, glorious form of someone who has been relieved and delivered from all his sinfulness and bad karma and so on. They all who were gathered there looked on us in amazement of this beautiful figure that ascended now over the Singhasan where Gokaran was seated there reading Katha. He spoke to Gokaran, Bhaiya, on account of what you have done, you have saved me, you have delivered me from my sinfulness and my wrongdoings. On account of this, I pray Bhagwan Krishna's blessings would be delivered unto you, O Gokaran, who acted so selflessly and with my genuine interests in mind. So saying, my dear friends, Dhundukari, the sinner, departed to Bhagwan's heavenly abode in Vaikuntha, totally being absolved of the sins he had committed, my dear friends, by listening to Bhagwat Puran Katha. This is the purifying nature, the rewarding nature of Bhagwat Puran, my dear friends. This is why, our ancestors read the same book. They read the same benefits and blessings of reading Bhagwat and listening to Bhagwat Katha. This is why those who are old enough will tell you of a time whenever a yajna would take place, there was hardly Raman yajna and Shiv Puran yajna. Everything was Bhagwat yajna. 3 times per day, as we have done during the course of this yajna, my dear friends. Understanding the full rewards and benefits of performing this Bhagwat yajna, it was instituted in all homes and all villages and all temples and so on. You and I, my dear friends, have had to share this wonderful opportunity, of these 21 sessions of Katha of Bhagwat Mahapuran. So those who were there had a question for Gokaran. When Dhundukari had departed, they all witnessed this divine miracle. They had a question for him. We all listened to the same katha. We were all here for the entirety of the yajna. How is it only Dhundukari gets to go to heaven, to Vaikuntha? What about us? So Gokaran explained to them, in this form of the brute, Dhundukari's only concern was Lord Krishna. All his hopes, all his attention, all his energy was on Bhagwan Krishna, and only listening to Bhagwat Puran and thinking of nothing else but Lord Krishna. All of us, the rest of us, we had the house to think about, the work to think about, the cows to think about, the children and the food and whatever, else grabs our attention. We had so many other numerous things that absorbed our minds. We always say, in Katha, to fulfill the requirements of listening to Katha, man, kram or vachan, in thought, word and deed. So, the physical presence is good, commendable, 100 marks. But you're supposed to get to 1,000 marks in this case. But if we're physically here, but we're thinking, today is Sunday. It's already coming on to 11 o'clock and Baba finished the katha as yet. We have wedding to go to, we have, so many things to do. It's a busy Sunday. So, we're only fulfilling one part of the equation, my dear friends. There's a physical presence. But, man, kram or bacha, thought, word and deed. This fulfills the criteria, my dear friends, of what is required, to fully maximize 1,000% the benefit and blessings of listening to Katha and listening to Puja and so on. So this is what he explains to them. The rest of us were thinking of so many other numerous things, whilst Dhundukari focused only on Bhagwan Krishna. So we invite Pandit to perform the Havan now. So we invite Baba to perform the Havan with Shri Dance as we join together in this final bhajan, and then we have a vote of thanks from the treasurer, who will deliver the vote of thanks after this bhajan. सुन ले पुकार आई आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सामने. Listen to my prayer, O Krishna. Today I have come to your door seeking your blessings. This world has shattered my dreams and hopes and aspirations. It's only you, O Prabhu, that can resolve the doubts and the pains that I harbor in my mind. सुन ले पुकार आई आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सावरे सुन ले पुकार आई आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सावरे सुन ले पुकार आई आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सारे विनती करूं मैं तो से जग के खिवैया डूब न जाए मेरी आशा की नैया विनती करूं मैं तो से जग के खिवैया डूब न जाए मेरी आशा की नैया किसको दिखाओ जाके दर्द में अपना बदले नहीं में कोई कृष्ण कन्हैया सुन ले पुकार आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सावरे सुन ले पुकार आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सावरे मैंने प्रभु आज तक कुछ नहीं मांगा मैंने प्रभु आज तक कुछ नहीं मांगा आज दान दे अपनी दया का बदले में चाहे मेरी जान भी ले बख्शे सहारा दाता इस दुखिया का सुन ले पुकार आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सारे सुन ले पुकार आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सारे सुन ले पुकार आज तेरे द्वार लेके आंसुओं की धार मेरे सारे बोलिए श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय So let us stand for Puranahuti. Hari Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Chama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Swadha Namastute Hari Om Puranamada Puranamidam Purnat Puranam Yadakshate Puranasya Puranamadaya Puranameva Vashishyate Om Sarvam Vai Purnagam Sarvam Vai Purnagam Sarvam Vai Purnagam Swaha. Can you take your seats, my dear friends? Now, before we actually perform Arati, some wonderful devotees have requested Sudama Mandir. So we're going to accede to this request. Now, Mr. Ranjit Singh is one of those few devotees who attended all sessions of the Bhagwat here. You know, sometimes when you invite people, they say, Baba, we try to attend at least one session. That's good, mind you. It's good that you attend one out of 21, still good. But when you get 21 out of 21, that's 100%, so it's even better. You know, it's like the doctor gives you a course of tablets to take, 21 tablets for, you know, the purpose of our discussion. You take 1 out of the 21. Chances are that one tablet will help you a little bit in relieving whatever fever or virus or so that you may have. But what happens when you take the entire course? Then of course you get the full benefit of the medicine that was given to you. So for such wonderful devotees, who have made the effort to be here for the entirety of the yajna, not just for these special devotees, but for all, who have come, whether for 1 or 5 or 21, we dedicate this wonderful bhajan to you. And of course, this one highlights the devotion of this wonderful devotee, Sudama. And of course, in the previous night's katha, we spoke of his devotion and how his devotion was able to transform his life through the blessings of Lord Krishna. Sudama mandir dekh kare, Sudama mandir dekh kare, dekh re bhaiya dekh kare, dekh re bhaiya dekh kare, Sudama mandir dekh kare, Sudama mandir dekh kare. कहा गए मेरी रामा झोपड़िया, कहा गए मेरी रामा झोपड़िया, कंचन महल करे, सुदामा मंदिर देख करे, सुदामा मंदिर देख करे, देख रे भैया देख रे, देख रे भैया देख रे, सुदामा मंदिर देख करे. गिरिधारी एक नील धन से, गिरिधारी एक नील धन से, मृत्या खेल करे, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, देख गए भैया देख गए, देख गए भैया देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए. घर की रानी आए द्वार पर, घर की रानी आई द्वार पर, नैनन प्रेम भरे, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, देख गए भैया देख गए, देख गए भैया देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए, सुदामा मंदिर देख गए. बोले श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. So we invite the treasurer to the microphone now. My Dharam Patni, Shashikala Maharaj, and she's going to read the eulogy for the vote of thanks for us.
Jai Sitaram, everyone. I'm here to do a vote of thanks. No eulogies here today. So we have decided, him and I, that we'll do this in parts. I shall do part and he shall do part, because it's a lot of people to thank. And if while he's listening to me and I miss a few people, Bhagwan forgive me and he will fill the gap. Firstly, we thank Bhagwan Shri Krishna for this opportunity. We have never done this before, and when we sat normally in our meetings, just to give you a brief backstory, our executive meetings are held first Wednesday in every month, or as we need to meet. So basically, planning for the year really begins in the month of January, first Wednesday, at that table there outside. And all the great ideas and inspiration comes to us at that point in time. So we bring forth our ideas and our thoughts, and this year Bhagwan blessed us in that he put the idea into our heads to do a Bhagwat Puran 3 times a day. We felt at the time that we were very inspired, we could do this, but and we did it. But as the time grew nearer, a lot of it fell upon the very strong shoulders of this young man next to me here.
So we have a very emotional vote of thanks this morning. So the only disagreement I have with that is I'm not a young man anymore. But my dear friends, it does take a lot of effort and, to coordinate for Bhagwat Yagya. And so as the treasurer was outlining, we give thanks to Bhagwan Krishna, for of course he made it possible. And of course, a couple of weeks before the Yagya actually started, the cleanup started around the mandir, and Tara Palu would have spearheaded that cleanup event. She mobilized the ladies and they started cleaning, a couple of weeks before, So of course we started with cleanup, and thanks to all the ladies in the cleanup crew, along with our good friend Kenny, who would come and accompany them, and do all the power washing and what have you. So that started, as we say, weeks before, and of course, whenever we think of Bhagwat Yagya, we must go to the kitchen. So many things have to be done in the kitchen. On certain days, when you add up the attendance of the 3 sessions, we would have exceeded, on certain days, as much as 600 individuals would have been fed here at the mandir. Morning session, afternoon session, and night session. We would have crossed 600 devotees per day. And that takes a lot of effort to prepare the food, to serve the food. And when that is done, you have to wash back the pot and basins. I saw Farzan tackling some very big pots and big basins, washing them. All of these are tasks that has to be done. So, in this, when we start to call name, it's a very long list. So it's one of the things we try to avoid calling names. So I call Mr. Ramjan name because I saw him, whenever I go to the back there, I see him tumbling some pots. But of course, early in the morning, I would meet Ricky and Jimmy here. Or rather, they would meet me here. Right? And they would start from very early in the morning with the making of the prasad and so on. And of course, they too were quite instrumental, assisting the ladies. Those massive pots, sometimes there's too much for the ladies to handle, so we need a little more muscle, to wash and so on, and dry and so on. So these gentlemen, along with the others, as I said, it's kind of difficult to call all the names. So along with the others, they would have spearheaded, the prasad and so on. We had cooks, my dear friends, from the first night. Nandrani and her family would have prepared meals on the first night. On the second day, we had Anthony and Sherry, is it? They're not here this morning, but Anthony actually took the entire week off from work. Sherry closed down her roti shop to be here for the week. That type of sacrifice is important, and of course we recognize and pray Bhagwan's blessings be upon that young couple and their 2 children. And whilst, everybody has left, what's the big child name again? Yadavi would come back and fix the chairs. Sometimes people get up and the chair is out of place. So when everybody is gone, while she's waiting to go home in the night, Yadavi is fixing back the chairs, for us to come back and have everything aligned properly while her sister is on a coloring book or something. The small one doesn't do as much work as the elder one. We had daughter on the Tuesday as a cook. We had again on Wednesday Anthony and Sherry. We had Tara and crew on Thursday. Well, Tara was here every single day. She would be here from very early as well. Whenever I'm here in the morning, sometimes I'm just making my morning walk and coming up the hill, and she's already on her way to the mandir. So she was here every single day, although we had appointed cooks for different days, she would be here to assist and coordinate in the kitchen, to ensure all got well, all was done well and on time, and of course, I think we mentioned daughter already. We had I think that's in terms of the cooks, who some of them, of course, repeated the days to ensure that we were well prepared for and well fed, and of course, all the meals were deliciously prepared. Right, you ready? Right. I'll pass you back to the treasurer for the vote of thanks.
While I have composure, let me get this quickly out of the way. So, the families who were shooters during the Bhagwat Puran, Sharon and Tolly and members of their family, they would have opened on the first night, and here they are closing for us this morning. Kiran and Natasha Haripasad and their family, Savi and family of Latches Road, the Me Too family, daughter Bhagirati and members of her family took Tuesday and all three sessions. Hemal, Length and Keshav, Savitri of Savitri's Pujastu and her husband, the Gulab Singh family of Endeavour Shabonas, Umesh Pepsi and family, Ricky, Pamela and family, Baraka, In and her sister Sabit, they took Kushan Janam Day, all three sessions. The Rajendra Maharaj family from Las Lomas took all three sessions yesterday, and here we are right now. And as just to reiterate what Panditji said, in terms of we had chefs, cooks, the professionals in their field for different days. However, when everyone came together, they all got the job done. Two very important people I have to recognize.
So those two very important people that she has to recognize is Junior and Ria. So of course Junior was the now, is the now, and Ria was the assistant now. So Ria is one of those who also took the week off for the Bhagwat, right? When people take vacation, they want to have a good time. Once someone asked, we're doing Yagya somewhere, and on the last day of the Yagya, I was reading a couple more pamphlets, that we're going to this Yagya, and after that one, we're going to another one. So one devotee asked, so Baba, what you just do for a good time? How you have a good time? I say, but we're having a good time now. People's definition of having fun and having a good time varies. And some people feel you must be in another setting to have a good time. But in Yagya and Puja, my dear friends, we have a good time. This is our line, so to speak. We're having a real good time here. So when you hear somebody take the week off to be in Bhagwat, they recognize that this is a good time. In fact, this is the best time you could have. Right? So the treasurer was going to say that Junior and Ria did an excellent job on the BD. And so just to let you know, so when the first session finished at 11 a.m., the nows have to spring into action, clean the BD, remove all the flowers and so on, vacuum the area here, and prepare once more for puja. And when the 3 o'clock session done, while some of us looking to go across to the feeding table and eat some food, they now spring into action again. Now an assistant now, clearing the BD again, making sure that they have all the leaves and so on in advance. And of course, prepare for puja once more. And when you feel you're done with that afternoon session, the night time coming up, so they have to make sure they have all the necessities for the evening puja. So when Baba and the Shrotas arrive, say, but did Nanak put this in place? That everything was in place? We have 2 Pujari Baba, they could testify to that. So 2 wonderful individuals who have given up their time the entire week. We commend you for that.
And just to add to what Panditji said about how busy we are, my group members.
So the group members, my dear friends, of course, no matter how much we do from the Singhasan here, without the accompaniment of the group members, all is not possible, right? So we have on the dholak, well, we had 2 dholak here. We had a daytime dholak drummer and a nighttime drummer, right? So during the daytime we had Michael. And this is the first time that Michael actually played for us. And if you listen to Michael on the Sunday that we started, well, Monday morning, and you listen to Michael today, you're listening to 2 different drummers. So I spoke to Michael this morning. I said, you know, you're sounding different. He said, yeah, I was listening to Ashton. Right? So you see, something happened, my dear friends, in the Yakia. You know? And that type of, you know, sometimes when you're looking for the daytime drama, it's hard because everyone is working, and Michael filled in so nicely. So let's start with the drummers. To Michael and to Ashton, who have done a wonderful job, you know, accompanying us in all the bhajans and songs. We thank you. And to all the singers, to all the dhantalists. We have a very young dhantalist on stage. And if you listen to Keshav rattle the dhantal, you would swear it's someone who is, you know, has 40, 50 years of experience in playing dhantal. So Keshav did a wonderful job. You know, Tolly. What night the singer from Arima came here? Friday night. So when you know, everything came to an end, Tolly and Sharon said, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. But they didn't leave because when the classical started, Tolly had to remain on stage. So, you know, Tolly started off as a dhantalist maybe what, 2 years? 1 year ago. 1 year ago, yeah. And now Tolly has become an established, accomplished dhantalist. Courtesy of a dhantal that was received by him from Ashton. I see the steps that you have there. The ladies had difficulty climbing the stage. Ashton also prepared the steps for us to ascend the stage, you know, without falling down and so on. We had a sound engineer. We had 2 sound engineers. Vinayak was the Pujari Baba. When he came in the morning, he doubled up as sound engineer as well. Right? So the two sound engineers, the 2 Pujari Pundits, special thanks to you. And who have we left out? We said we wasn't going to call any names, but we ended up calling a lot of names. Our decorator, Michael, Diana, and Sharon and Tolly are also decorators. Members of the Sundar family did the cutting of the paper on the outside. We wanted a little traditional look for the traditional look for the Bhagwat. And so they cut the paper for us and we string it up. Well, not me, Sharon and Tolly and the treasurer and Ria and others, they strung up the paper for us. So I think we are done with the vote of thanks. If we have left out anyone inadvertently, we do apologize for that. We do have a tendency to leave out people in the vote of thanks from time to time. But to all who have been involved, maybe directly or indirectly, in the hosting of this Bhagwat Puran Yajna, we extend our sincere thanks to you. And our assistant treasurer, in fact our vice president, Mr. Pallu, just brought a note for me. Milane Sudama for us, signed by Jimmy Pallu. So of course, we will respond to this before we go on to the final arati and Ashirvad. At the time of Visarjan, when we have concluded, we do have the yellow rice, the colored rice, which is the blessings of the Bhagwat Puran. And so the conclusion, of course, you can come to the Singhasan where, of course, this yellow rice will be given for you to take back with you to your home. Milane Sudama हो श्री कृष्णा जी के यादो मोरे रामा मिलने सुदामा श्री कृष्णा जी के यारो मोरे रामा मिलने सुदामा आई। श्री कृष्णा जी के यारो मोरे रामा मिलने सुदामा आई। श्री कृष्णा जी के यारो मोरे रामा। हसी हसी रुकनी पूछे I must make mention. A special thanks to Kenny. 2 weeks before this Bhagwat Yagya was supposed to begin, he was scheduled to have an eye operation, just to clean the eye. And you know, those appointments don't come back easy. Eh? He says, Baba, I give up that appointment. For he is here every single day. I give up that appointment. I will take another appointment later on in the year. Because I want you to be here to assist you in preparing for this yagya. Not many people will do that, my dear friends. Giving up the appointment to clean the eye, to come and work at the temple. Not many will do that, but he did it. That type of selflessness. You know, we hear more about selfishness today, not selflessness. That type of selflessness must be highlighted and give special thanks to Kenny, you know. From up the hill by the ashram, inside the temple, outside the temple, on top of the temple, around the temple, electrician, plumber, whatever you require Kenny to be, he is capable. Total all-rounder, capable of doing every single chore around the temple. हसी हसी रुकनी पूछे हसी 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 रुकनी पूछे लागे तुम्हारे श्री कृष्णा जी के यारो मोरे रामा मेरे सुदामा आई। श्री कृष्णा जी के यारो मोरे रामा मिलने सुदामा आई। श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मोरे रामा मिलने सुदामा आई। श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मोरे रामा। छुपाए श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मोरे रामा सुदामा आई। जी के यारो मेरे रामा जन्म के मित्र सुदामा जन्म के जन्म के जन्म के मित्र सुदामा पढ़े एक पाठशाला श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मेरे रामा सुदामा श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मेरे रामा सुदामा श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मेरे रामा सुदामा कृष्ण जी के यारो मोरे रामा मिले सुदामा श्री कृष्ण जी के यारो मोरे रामा बोलिए श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय
Bolo Shri Radha Krishna Chandra ki jai. So as we approach our final arati, I would call upon Mr. Farzan Ramjan. He just has one addition to make to our signs and showings of gratitude as we come to the close of this cycle.
Our dear Vyasji, Pundit Rajendra Maharaj, Obedi Pujas, Pundit Vinayak and Pundit Vasudev, other Pundit sisters and brothers, all Assalamu alaikum. Kitchen. Namaste, Ositaram. When Shashi came to do the vote of thanks, and I can understand and relate to her, because it happens to me many, many years ago and all the time, even up to today. So it does get that feeling of love inside you. To express that now, it comes out in all different forms, sometimes in words, and then sometimes through the tear. That tear, my dear brothers and sisters, comes from deep inside. But they thank everybody for bringing this Bhagwat to a success, and such a tremendous success it was. So it is still. Who thanks the Baba? To sit on that Singhasan and to deliver 3 messages each day for 7 days takes a lot. Even to do one takes so much of your time and effort to research and to bring the message for all of us to benefit from. For all of us, the devotees who would have passed through this blessed hall for those past 7 days, morning, noon, and night. And we benefited from that. Who say thanks to Panditji? So, this morning I choose to do that on behalf of all the devotees who would have passed through here, Panditji. We say thank you. We say thank you for your love and for your dedication and for bringing to us those messages that to benefit us to better our lives as we journey through this life from here on earth. We say thank you, Panditji, that Bhagwan bless you, that he will continue to guide you and to protect you, grant you long, long, long life with good health and strength and happiness. And you know, I want to personally thank you because when we started this mandir, and 30 years ago, you know, this is our 30th anniversary, one of my wishes was to have Bhagwat perform in this mandir. Jimmy could relate to this because we talked about that very early. I grew up in a community and I only know Bhagwat. I didn't know Ramayana, Yagna. I know Bhagwat. So as a little boy growing up, running to collect Parsad especially, I know I could relate to that. So today, when I hear that there was This year when I heard that they was going to perform Bhagwat, I felt so good inside because that is one of my wish come true. And so I personally thank you and all the members and the committee who would have worked to get this done and get it done successfully. We thank you. May Allah bless you, may Bhagwan bless you, and may you continue together with, I know see 30 years ahead from now, we have two other reliable, strong and upcoming pundits that will take us through this journey. Continue. Bless you all. Namaste and Sitaram.
Thank you, Mr. Ramjan, for that contribution to the vote of thanks. You see, the vote of thanks was multifaceted this morning. And of course, my dear friends, ultimately, of course, all is made possible with Bhagwan's blessing. Just one announcement before we do go to the closing arati. Little bit of a change of plans. We did announce that we're going to Queen Anne Beach, but instead we're going to Tirat site at Woodland. Reason being, after I made that announcement last night, quite a few people indicated to me going down there around midday, apart from the other beach goers, which, you know, we don't mind, you know, people can go to the beach and do whatever they do. We'll just go and do what we have to do, right? But I think it's supposed to be close to high tide, and the waters are supposed to be straight up to the lifeguard boot, which would be a little bit cumbersome for us, the duty and so on. So on account of that, we are deciding to go to Tirat side at Woodland. So we're going to have our meals, we're going to have boating and so on, and maybe around, well, maybe at least 1 hour, in 1 hour's time. Those who wish to accompany, you do not have to, it's not compulsory, it's not mandated in any way. So if you wish to accompany us to the Tirat site at Woodland, we'll be going to make the final offerings in the water there, along with Havan. All right, so just a note, after we have meals and so on, we'll be making arrangements, maybe around 12:30, if possible, thereabouts, to go down to the Tirat site for the final offering into the water. Acha, can I hold the song stands which are together in Bhagwat Arati. Sajan chavakshitam yuktam varinam Bangahan divase Redukam Jai Jai Bhagwat Bhagwan ki hai aarati Papiyon ko paap se hai taarati सुख करनी है दुख हरनी मधुसूदन की आरती। जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। मधुर बोल जब खंड खोल सन्मार्ग दिखाने वाला, बिगड़ी को बनाने वाला। श्री राम यही घनश्याम यही, सबकी महिमा की आरती। जय जय भागवत भगवान की है आरती। गोविंद बोल हरि गोपाल बोल, गोविंद बोल हरि गोपाल बोल, गोविंद बोल हरि गोपाल बोल, गोविंद बोल हरि गोपाल बोल। राधा रमण हरि गोविंद हरे हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा, हरे हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा, हरे हरे गोविंद पांडुरंगा, हरे हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा। हे जगवंदन देवकी नंदन अलख निरंजन हरे हरे, जगवंदन देवकी नंदन अलख निरंजन हरे हरे। जन मन रंजन भव भंजन असुर कंदन हरे हरे। हरे हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा, हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा, हरे हरे गोविंद पांडुरंगा, हरे हरे गोपाल राधे कृष्णा, राधे कृष्णा, राधे कृष्णा, राधे कृष्णा, राधे कृष्णा, राधे कृष्णा। So we now have the Ashirvad, or the final blessing of this Bhagwat Yajna. So as Pandit Vasudev will be passing through the audience with the word of order, Pandit Vinayak would lead us in the chanting of Ganapati Girija. गणपति गिरिजा वृषभध्वज शनमुखो नंदी मुखदिमदिमं मनुजमाल त्रिशूल मृगस्त्वचं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं रविशशि कुजयन्दु बृहस्पति भृगुजभानुज सिंहज केतव उरगरामपि योगचराशय प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं सुरशरीरविनन्दिनि गोमति सरयुतामपि सागर घर्घरा कनकरापति गण्डकी नर्मदा प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं भृगुमरीचिपुलस्य च अङ्गिरा कपिलवत्सागस्य च नारर गुरुवशिष्ठ सनातन जैमिनी
प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं वरुण इन्द्र कुबेर हुताशन यम समीरन वारिध कुञ्जरा सुरगणामसुरश्च महीधरा प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलं प्रतिदिनं कुशलं जय मङ्गलम्.
We bow our heads in this final prayer. Mantrahinam kriyahinam bhaktihinam janadhanam yat pujitam maya devam paripurnam tadastu me. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva bandhusya sakha tvameva vidya dravinam Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. प्रेम से बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की, उमापति महादेव की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की, और ऐसा जगन्नाथ की, बोलो भाई सब संतन की, सियापति रामचंद्र की. We're not hearing Vicky and Jimmy outside. She Satya Sanatan Dharma ki. Jai Jai Sitaram. Ask Nietzsche. Can you be seated, devotee?